So it's time to kick off this roller coaster of an event. First off, we have the first speaker of the day who's going to join us very soon. He is from Nigeria, Oluwatobi Shokunbi, and he will be talking about taking React Native to infinity and beyond. Toby, hi.
Hi,
Hi,
how
how are
you?
you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Before we begin, a little introduction about Toby. Like us, he is the founder of React Native Nigeria Meetup group, which is amazing. He is currently building Chief, which is, I believe, a service to book chefs and cooks online,
Yeah,
from what I know. And personally, he loves to play ping pong and loves to hike.
you got that right. Yes, um,
I
um,
ho-
um, I'm a
so
big fan of hiking. I try to do it every morning.
Perfect, perfect. That is excellent. So I will let you take the floor now. It's all yours. All the best, and well, take it away.
Hey, thanks. Hello everyone. As said earlier, my name is Oluwatobi Shokunbi. It's really great to be here, and I hope everyone is doing great and keeping safe. I really want to appreciate the organizers for this opportunity to come give a talk titled "React Native to Infinity and Beyond." But before we get started, a little bit about myself, more about myself. So, as he said earlier, a software engineer and the founder of React Native Nigeria community. You can reach out to me with any of the links below. Pretty much, I retweet the events. I'll pretty much retweet and also comment it on Twitter, Medium, or any of the social media platform listed below. So let's get right to our talk. So a little more scope on what we're talking about because it looks a little bit vague. React Native to infinity and beyond. Where did the law start from? How did we get here? And what are we even talking about? What am I even talking about? So yeah, React Native originally React Native originally started off as a Facebook internal hackathon project in the summer of 2019. Since then, it has not only become one of the most popular frameworks, but it actually solves a problem, and it gets the work done. So it's no surprise companies like Microsoft and even Apple have started including React Native into their projects. In as much as a handful of developers would outline tons of downside to React Native, the fact still remains no framework is without a downside. And besides, React Native has come a long way in its journey and does some really cool, impressive stuff. So, what really is the upside to React Native? Why should you ever consider it to why should you ever consider it, and would you ever think for a second you would use React Native and make it your buzz light here in the world of front end development, no matter the platform? So, well, in the course of my talk, I will be taking you on a journey, trying to outline some points why you should consider React Native in your day-to-day development. Also pointing out some areas where it currently performs best in 2020, and of course I'll try to do this in the time allocated to me. So I do hope you stay tuned to the end of my talk, and of course I hope you enjoy. So moving on, um the time when I had the idea for this talk, way before I handed in the proposal, I got the buzz that I had been working on React Native as a technology, and I have honestly had no issue or need to learn something new. And this was really amazing for me because at the time I was working on projects for desktop applications, mobile application, and as well web. And at the time, and at some point, I had to always make this decision. Do I have to go learn something more native to do some certain things? But funny enough, I would always choose React Native, and every single time I did choose React Native. Most recently, I was consulting for a project, which after I saw the MVP, the project, I knew this wasn't something um I knew this was something different entirely. I would always even try to attempt it with React Native, and funny enough, it's always did get the job done. And one of what I would like to outline here, why I always did choose React Native is, as you can see on the screen, number one was it had a huge community. Um, Better tooling was incorporated. The lane ones run everywhere, and a huge demand in the market. So I'll be taking this one after the other. So the first normal is a huge community, and it's bigger, it's stronger, and it's better than ever before. In the early years of React Native, it was clear a lot of developers had second thoughts why they should dive into this new library or framework or whatnot. React Native was way in over his head, trying to redefine the way we build mobile applications with the whole right ones run everywhere mentality. But then a lot of you would agree that it was bonkers for a tech team to abandon their existing native project built with probably Objective C or C++, which actually cost to create. And also bear in mind that these companies were battling with competitors, and they have had to put all their eggs in one basket, being React Native, which at the time still had a lot of issues. Mind you, React Native still had issues and was still figuring out a lot of things. The community around React Native was still at its early stage, and there was basically a lot of things to get done. But looking it's basically 5 years down the road, and looking back, you could see that on GitHub alone, the repo has 85K stars, which is impressive and amazing. That's a lot of stars, and used in 333K repositories. That is a lot of projects actually incorporating React Native. The community around React Native is impressive. Believe it or not, a lot of people love React Native. There's absolutely no doubt people love React Native. And this love has driven a lot of people and startups to start communities around the world, which occasionally hosts meetups, conference, and workshops just like this one. And it's great because it makes it easy for anyone to get started in React Native. It makes it easy for anyone to just decide that they want to get into React Native, and you have a very huge community backing you. One thing to take home is React Native is a tool, and since it's backed by Facebook, it gets timely updates, and the community is expanding, which with each and every passing day. React Native continues to grow. In the last year, React Native use has doubled, going from being installed from 15K apps on the store in 2018 to being installed in over 27K apps in 2019, and only God knows what is going to happen in 2020. So you can see that the momentum in React Native is a lot. A lot of people are hopping on this new library. The next thing I would like to cover is better tooling, and this is really a big deal because if there's one thing that makes any framework or library easy to use, or it's basically the tools that are created specifically for it. And React Native is one to not be losing in this round. A lot of tools and packages exist which makes React Native so easy to use. Some even help to do the tedious work of converting your UI to code, and some exist that helps the whole development process super easy. Tools to help with testing, debugging, upgrading your project. As one of the tools created specifically for React Native are endless. The tools created for React Native are endless. Some of which are bits for React Native, React Native Debugger, React Native Dev Tools, Expo, React App Builder. The list goes on. I could spend the whole day just outlining a lot of tools that currently exist and help the whole React Native ecosystem. But for the sake of time, I'll try to keep it to a minimal and probably just talk about two of those tools, which I find very impressive. So some of the first tool I'll be talking about today is BuilderX. This is actually a very impressive tool because I recently just found out about this last year and I played around with it and it was actually very impressive. We had a tight deadline for a project and we were supposed to build a lot of screens and the amount of developers that were on that team were minimum. So we had to go out and check for what tools are out there that could help this our particular project move faster with the workforce that we currently had. And we tried out BuilderX. It was beautiful. In less than 2 days, we were able to convert all our screens to code in React Native. Yeah, we had to do a little bit of touching there and there, trying to make everything optimized. But it was amazing how the job that would have taken weeks to do, BuilderX was able to help us do it in 2 days. It was really amazing with less hands involved. It's a tool that I would recommend anyone should check out. It's really awesome. It really does a lot. The other one I really like to talk about is Expo. So I use Expo when I'm trying to bootstrap a little project or I'm working on a package that I would actually put out there on npm. It's actually a very cool tool. Expo comes with a lot of APIs which takes out the headache of trying to work with native codes and trying to set up things manually yourself. It comes with a live debugger on your phone as called an Expo client, where you could actually test your mobile app as you build, be it on Android or iOS, and it also helps in packaging your apps on the cloud. So it's really something you should check out when you're basically getting into React Native for the first time. It really takes out the stress, and I would really recommend this for about just anything. Okay, so the next thing I have on my list here is learn once and write everywhere. So one of the main reasons for React Native growing popularity is that it supports development for both iOS and Android. But as of date, React Native handles so much more than Android and iOS. With the introduction of tools like and packages like Expo, React Native Web, React Native macOS, React Native macOS menu, bar templates, React Native tvOS. There are a lot of new cool things that React Native really handles. You no longer need to build your mobile app separately for each type of device, and you want to run it on. You basically have React Native handle a lot of things thanks to the huge community that is always working on React Native. You could actually see React Native run on your tvOS. You can see React Native work on your macOS menu bar. So with React Native, a single code base makes it possible to build your app once and deploy it everywhere. With React Native app templates, your team begins their projects with a solid code base, documentation, and a set of screens that cuts down on production costs intensively. So it's something you really want to check out. The growth isn't diminishing but rapidly increasing. It will be great to give it a try. More companies have begun trying out React Native in their day-to-day development by adding React Native to their existing code base, be it in parts or using React Native entirely for the whole project. But whatever you would want to use React Native, it's good to know that can get the job done because it helps in handling your business logics and sharing it across multiple platforms. A lot of apps, as I said, a lot of apps have been using React Native. I went and did a check, and it was amazing the amount of apps I found that were able to do this. I saw Bing, I saw Microsoft, OneNote. Man, it was really amazing to see that a lot of apps, even the Xbox, have started incorporating React Native because of what and the potential they see in it. Microsoft it will be good to also see Microsoft is actually a very huge fan of React Native. They've actually tried to over time tried to also get in on React Native, trying to incorporate it in their platforms. So one last thing I would like to talk about is the huge demand in the market. So React Native as technology is starting to mature. We tend to see more applications used in React Native store in the App Store, as not only small scale business but also large scale companies have started to use React Native in production. You could actually see this because it was funny when I went to check and I actually saw that Tesla is currently using and supporting React Native for their mobile apps which controls their car. So it's amazing to see React Native being used in all these multiple use cases and getting the job actually done. I also did a search on Google Trend, and this was what I found when I was um trying to check React Native against other mobile platform development in iOS and Android. And it's amazing that all over the world, React Native is even having a lot of traction compared to most of all these other um, current solutions out there. The whole world is really excited about React Native. They want to know what this is all about. And I think you should also get in on it. More apps that use React Native. As I said, Facebook has started using the Facebook Ad Manager. Instagram is a very huge player when it comes to React Native. They use it a lot. Airbnb, even if they stopped for a while. Tesla, Boomerang, SoundCloud Plus, a lot of apps on a large scale have started to use React Native. So, in conclusion, it's been 5 years since the official release of React Native. And looking back, it's insane to see it's reached this level of growth. It's awesome. It's an awesome thing it currently handles in day-to-day development. Popularity of this framework will definitely grow. It's still supported by Facebook, and this is one factor which is responsible for the steady growth. Also, users' problems and community suggestions are quickly addressed. Solutions come regularly as part of next release. The team behind the framework is constantly modernizing its architecture. The team the aim is to make React Native more lightweight by reducing API surface areas and thus migrating to formal built-in WebView, NetInfo, and geolocation into separate independent packages. And thanks to this, improves the speed of the app created with this library. Moreover, there is a JavaScript engine being developed, which is called Hermes. You could also check that out. That improves React Native performance on Android. So you really don't have anything to worry about here. The current time we live in um, has driven the world to rely on applications and user interfacing products. React Native has beyond a doubt performed and is still performing and getting the job done, giving the ability to not only target one platform but all front end platforms. And it will be a thing of joy to actually see it reach this in the nearest future. I will employ you to try out React Native in your next project and see it be your own boss light here in the world of front end development. My recommendation for 2020 would be for you to give React Native a try at least. Thank you very much. Also, feel free to connect to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Medium, and on YouTube. Would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. I hope I can. I hope I'm audible to you. Am I?
Yes, you are. You are. You are.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for all that. So we were waiting for questions from the viewers on YouTube and Twitter for from
Oh,
any questions that they might have. But there is this one comment by just another gamer that he mentions that Microsoft is actually planning to rebuild the Xbox app with a standalone React Native. So what do you think? What are your views on that? Do you think it'll work? Do you think
um,
React Native is ready for such a big scale app?
well, the interesting thing about this is that when React Native came out, no one thought it was ready for anything. If everyone had their doubts that it probably couldn't handle that, it probably couldn't do this. But I feel React Native is at that stage where it's ready to try it out, and really do a lot more and change the way we think about probably front end development in general. I feel it's getting there, and I feel we are there. React Native in performance compared 5 years ago, it's drastically different. It does much more than what you probably think it does. So yes, I think it's ready to do that.
Well, I think that's mainly contributed to it being open source, and since Facebook is putting in a lot of time in this, and the open source community, it's such a big backing
Yeah,
that everybody is trying to improve it at all times. Everybody is
yeah.
contributing equally.
Yes, and it's one thing when just a company is working on it, and it's something where the entire world is working on it. React Native isn't just Facebook alone; it's more of community. So if you really look at React Native, it's basically we are all building it together. We are all trying to make this better because we all use it. So yeah, it is.
That is right. Okay, I guess that's all the questions that we have for now for you. We will get back to you perhaps if somebody does ask anything that
Sure.
you can probably answer.
We'll try.
Thank you very much, Toby. Thank you for being here. We'll just move on with the show.
Yeah.